Reducing waste in the gift giving. Thank you. Reducing waste in the gift giving industry by making it green and impactful. Let's listen to another powerful session on consumption that is responsible, focusing on UN SDGs 2, 12, 14 by Atreyi Basu. Atreyi Basu is the founder and CEO of Verdura Care Trading. Over to you, Atreyi, for your session.
Thank you so much, Aparna. It's a really pleasure being here, and thanks for having me here among such eminent speakers. I'll just quickly go ahead and share my screen. Is it visible, Aparna?
Yes, it is visible.
I'll just put it on slideshow mode.
Perfect.
So yeah, before taking much of your time, I'll just quickly start off and keep it very short and crisp. Hello to everyone who has joined in here, and to all those who are viewing us live on different social media platforms. Good evening, good morning, based on whichever location you have tuned in from. So I am Atreyi. I'm the founder and CEO of my company, Verdura Care. And today I will be speaking on a simple, very simple, yet very important topic that's almost part of our daily life. And that is reducing waste in the corporate gifting industry by making it green and impactful and moving to a more responsible production and consumption method. So before I go deeper into the topic, let me first tell you what we at Verdura Care do. Verdura, our brand name, literally means greenery. So through this name, our brand evokes our core values of promoting eco-friendliness, sustainability, and renewability. And how exactly do we do it? We do it through our gifting solutions, merchandising, which are waste-free, almost carbon neutral, and authentically sustainable. So when I'm saying authentically sustainable, I'll just explain it to you later in my later slides into the presentation. So, but first, let me tell you, a little background of how exactly I started off with this and why did I do this. So I have been in the marketing industry for the last 17 years of diverse industries and brands in the Middle East and Asia. So currently I'm speaking to you from Qatar. And what I experienced during my tenure with different corporate houses, that every time, during the gifting season, we used to have a huge challenge. And there are many times during the year where we really have to give gifts to our, employees, to stakeholders, to different customers. And every time we ended up with the gifts which are repetitive, not impactful, or memorable with most negligible recall value, has plastic component in it, or made of materials which are not biodegradable. So we consciously, and we consciously were not doing it. We were actually compelled to do so for the lack of choice and advice from the existing suppliers in the market. And that was a problem. That was a serious problem. So what happens? So what happens to these gifts actually? Because sitting here right now while speaking to, I can't exactly recall the gifts that I have received during the last 17 years from my organizations. So what used to happen is that maybe these gifts which are not impactful would end up somewhere in the dark corner of my cupboard, or I will pass it on to someone. And at the end, what is the afterlife of these gifts? It will end up in the landfill, generating waste and pollution. And oceans have been affected, landfills are becoming full. And this is absolutely alarming. So what we found is that we did a little bit of a research, and what we found that the MENA region that I'm currently in is worth, the gifting industry in the MENA region is almost worth $11 billion. And it's expected to grow annually at a CAGR of almost 14%. So we all can very well imagine the number of gifts by each corporate that will be given out in a whole year throughout Qatar and the region, and especially with the Football World Cup coming up towards the end of this year. So we as a company took it on us to contribute to Qatar's National Vision 2030's pillar of sustainability and generate awareness among corporates to resort to gifts which are impactful, responsible, and truly sustainable. So currently, in most of the cases, the gifts that are being given out in the industry, currently not only in Qatar, I would say in many parts of the world, has been made following the linear economic model. So if you can see on my screen what I mean by the linear economic model, which is take, make, and dispose of, which is resource extraction. And this is what we are trying to address. And this is where the problem arises, with huge amount of pressure on our environment, natural capital, and resources extraction. So what companies need to do? Companies have a huge responsibility. So all the speakers before me have spoken about this, how corporates have huge role to play. Companies need to look deeper into the products that they are using by checking the suppliers' methodology, suppliers that they are working with, which should be sustainable without putting pressure on resources, production, distribution, consumption, and generating waste. And a circular model, or a cradle to cradle, is the tool to one of the enablers to achieve sustainability. And if companies are investing with suppliers following the circular economy model, they are actually making an impactful investment in sustainability. So what is a circular model? A circular model is making sure that the items, the materials used, and the final product stay in circulation for as long as possible and follow the concept of reusing, repurposing, remanufacturing, and recycling. And how we are doing, and I'll come to what we as a corporate are doing and what role do we play. So we as a company and supplier of gifting solution and merchandising to corporates actually help them in their sustainability journey with using solution which is responsibly made would be consumed responsibly too. We resort to a methodology you can see here in my screen to make sure that all our solutions are vetted as per this. We use the triple bottom line approach, or the 3Ps framework, to measure the sustainability goals. I will not go deeper into what this 3Ps framework is all about, but because all the speakers before me have spoken about it a lot. So our goal is to eliminate, our goal as an organization is to eliminate unnecessary plastics, and if at all used, are recyclable, compostable. How we do it exactly is we evaluate the raw materials used for our physical gifts to make sure that there is no plastic component, or if there is at all, then we are using recycled rPET plastic bottles kind of things. So we check our materials on 3 aspects. First is functionality, like transparency, whether it's transparency, whether it's food grade, it's durability. We check second on the sustainability aspect, like what is the end life of the material? Will it biodegrade? How long will it stay in the environment? Is it recyclable? And also we are checking on the economic feasibility, like the cost of production, shipping cost, its carbon footprint. So, and beside all these things, we are also looking into the packaging, which is very, very important, which as a supplier, we must look into it. And all the corporates, who are procuring gifting solutions from different suppliers must also look into the packaging, because if it's plastic packaging, if packagings are not biodegradable, it will ultimately end up in the landfill. So yeah, we are looking into the packaging of the product to make sure that we do not use any plastic components and use alternative solutions while recycle, like recycle paper or recycle paper boxes, jute, bamboo, seaweed, etc. These kind of materials. We also look into the working condition of the factories. Speakers before me have also spoken about inclusion, diversity, and working conditions. So we look into that as well with the factories that we work in, to make sure that they are following the standard health and safety standards. They have the required certifications for the people. And beside that, internally, me also being certified in sustainability, we internally do a little bit of we do our product analysis to determine the ESG impact of our solutions. And we very transparently go ahead and share this with our corporate clients. So now what's happening? All my corporate clients are actually getting all this transparent data, how the product has been made, how the product has been sourced, what is the afterlife of the product, what are the goals of, the SDG goals these solutions are solving, and what is the ESG impact. So these data that they are getting from us, now they can, very well go and incorporate in their sustainability report, in their annual report, actually overall, if you see, they are actually connecting to SDG goal 12 of responsible consumption and production, and overall taking an action on climate change. So why companies need to wake up now? Again, a lot has been spoken about it before me, so I'll keep it very short and crisp. Corporates have the power. The corporates have huge power to bring in the change in the society, the change that we all are looking for, and impact lives of millions and millions of consumers. So these are some of the alarming facts, which I was going through, and it actually goes up my mind. So I thought of sharing with all of you. That companies should be looking at and mindfully resort to gift giving or use of merchandising and stationeries. Why? Because by 2050, there could be more plastics in the ocean than the fish. It's absolutely alarming. By 2050, greenhouse gas emissions from plastic production could be 2.8 billion tons. The pandemic itself generated over 8 million tons of plastic waste around the world, and over 25,000 tons of that waste entered the ocean. So it's high time that we all, wake up, and corporates, especially corporates who have a huge role to play, wake up. Our trash, the trash that we are building up, our trash piles up also affects animal behaviors. I will share couple of examples here quickly. In 2016, in Argentina, it was seen that waste produced from increased fishery activity had instigated a 37% growth in gull populations, which has resulted in an escalating rate of gull attacks on whales. So in 30 years, evidence of gull attacks on whales shot up from 2% in the 1970s to 99% in the 2000s. Another example I will cite here, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with restaurants shut down and their food supplies cut off, rats in New York City began to starve. As per the reports that were floating around, that once outdoor dining started up, customers experienced a new level of interaction with hungry rats looking for food. So this is what exactly our waste is having a havoc on the even on the animals, on the living creatures out here. So why corporate sustainability is so crucial, and why corporates must incorporate this at every level? Sustainability plays a huge role and have a great impact on how the market, financial market, consumers, employees, and investors actually view a company. It has been observed that companies focusing on ESG issues, I will not go deeper into ESG, as I said, I will not take much of your time on that, have achieved reduced cost, improved workers' productivity, mitigated risk potential, and created revenue generating opportunities. And this is exactly what companies should be looking at in the long term. An example of how ESG issues can actually impact a company's financial returns and investment is the degradation of natural capital on the ecosystem, which could limit the availability of raw materials, and it will lead to slower and slower business growth. So for companies to be sustainable in their supply chain should have the features of a circular model, which is cradle to cradle model, which we spoke about. It has also been observed that when a company is mindful of their environment and their sourcing and consumption methods, they have better engagement with their staff, with higher brand loyalty and recall value. Just as my previous speaker was speaking about some brands like Lego, like Tata, and all these people. Look at the huge amount of brand value they have created through responsible consumption and production, through the responsibility towards the society. So investing and procuring sustainably also helps mitigate risk by avoiding investing in products or gifting and merchandising solutions that are exposed to pollution, lawsuits, labor conflicts, and shareholder dissatisfaction. So it's this very simple way of avoiding work with a supplier that can negatively impact the reputation of your company. Without taking again much of your time on a Saturday evening, I know it's 9:30 in India and here I'm almost 7:30. And I will wrap up by saying that mindful and responsible consumption and production, which leads to waste reduction, should be the goal of every company. And implement this while choosing the gifts during the gifting season, so none of them should end up in the landfill, damaging our future. Together, we should be moving beyond local and regional problems and look at this at a global problem, and start addressing at the local level to contribute to the bigger picture that we have. So here are some reports. Adopting a sustainable model, if we can see these numbers, adopting a sustainable model can actually reduce by 2040 the volume of plastics going to the ocean by 80%, generate global savings of USD 200 billion per year, reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 25%, and create 700,000 net additional jobs globally. And that's huge. So here, this is my favorite quote, which I like to, share with everyone. And I will end the session with this quote, which is very close to my heart, that we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We are actually borrowing it from our children. So thank you everyone for listening to me, and I hope the session has been insightful and useful. Here is my contacts. To reach out to me, you can reach out to me for further discussion on the subject, and of course, like the kind of gifting solutions we have. Our solutions are physical products. We have experiential and digital gifting options as well. Thank you, Aparna and Santosh and the entire team for this amazing event. And it was an absolute pleasure, I would say, to listening to all these amazing speakers for the last 3 days. Thank you, and over to you, Aparna.
Thank you so much, Atreyi, for that excellent session, and like